Hi, I'm Coach Amber. Welcome to the Meet RX Success Story podcast. Today we have Trudi with us and she will be sharing her success story. Welcome, Trudi.
Thank you. I'm excited to talk with you.
Yay. Okay, so Trudi, tell us, what was your life like prior to starting a meat-based diet? Were you having any health issues or anything that you were trying to change?
Oh, what wasn't I trying to change? That's a better question. Prior to starting a meat-based diet, I had probably been searching for a long time to find something that worked for me. I struggled often with not feeling well, I guess you can consider me an emotional person. I've always been emotional from a very young age, and couldn't understand it, as a young girl into being a teenager and then a young adult. As an adult, I established some sort of coping mechanisms, different things that I would put in place to keep my emotions in check. However, there was kind of always this cloud there. And I think the emotional part also led to weight gain later on, and then not understanding what to do about it. I would try diet after diet, Weight Watchers, everything in the book, even had gastric bypass when my weight got extreme as a young adult after having my daughter, had that. And though that was a temporary fix, it wasn't something that was a permanent one, of course, because some of the pictures of my before and after. My before picture was after gastric bypass later on. So I think I was something around 208, 209 at my heaviest after gastric bypass. Prior to that, I think my heaviest was 306. It was a lot of emotional, not understanding, dealing with emotions, not understanding why I was feeling the way that I was, why I was sad, why I was feeling anxious. And so it was always a constant kind of struggle that loomed in my life. And then as I became an adult, after having my daughter, and even losing some weight, I still struggled with the emotional part. Fast forward to in my late 40s, arthritis, pain. I had a lot of sciatic nerve pain that I had to do stretches every morning in order to just make it so that I could walk in the morning, because I would get up and oddly enough, I thought it was plantar fasciitis. Turns out I think it was more sciatic related. I'd get up and to fall because it just hurt so bad. And then just having more and more joint pain. And so, these are just IBS I dealt with, irritable bowel issues, the kind to where it's like you question, I would go out and try to hike or go out and do something active to worry about, am I going to make it back to the bathroom kind of thing. And so it was, I also suffered from severe anemia pretty much all my life, and had to take iron tablets every time I'd try to go off of them. I would develop everything from a sore tongue to a metal taste in my mouth to energy levels so bad that I couldn't even climb stairs. My energy level would drop. And then I'd go to the doctor and they'd do blood work and say your iron level is like 6. It was just really low and you have to take iron. And so I'd get back on the iron. Never made me feel that great being on it. And however, it was kind of one of those things I thought, I have to be on this for the rest of my life. I even went so far as the year prior to going carnivore, I decided to go vegan. And thinking I'm doing the right thing. I did the celery juice cleanse that a lot of people think is so healthy. I did that every day for almost a year, lots of celery, and getting pea protein, watching my protein, eating really healthy, staying off sugars, other than fruits and vegetables, and just trying to, and even ridding myself of gluten. And to watch my health decline, watch my energy level decline. I also had a habit of going to the gym 6-7 days a week and trying to work out, thinking that that's going to be the solution, and just to have no energy to do it. I would suffer. And I even ended up in the hospital, diagnosed with pancreatitis, and couldn't figure out why. I was pissed off. I was pissed off because I was so disciplined to be so healthy, eating vegan. You know, why is this not working? I'm doing all the right things. I read Dr. Valdo Longo's book about longevity. I even did his fasting diet, you know, where you fast, he sends you the box of stuff. You know, I did all that. And why is it that, you know, everything I'm doing, and here I am in the hospital, right? It was crazy and frustrating, and to have, you know, still having to take iron pills and, you know, just feeling bloated and sick. It was horrible. And so, I mean, I guess here I'm rambling on. However, that's been my life. I mean, that's, you know, trying to struggle to feel good, you know, going from the point of ignoring how I felt, you know, eating those things and then paying for it, and then eating those things and then paying for it, to finally going, okay, I need to do something, but what? And then trying to figure out what that was, like constantly changing things, it seems, right? To figure out what it is. And so that's what, you know, led me to find Carnivore.
Just out of curiosity, before you started the vegan diet, what diet were you following when you started having all the issues with anemia?
Well, I guess I could say I was somewhat, I wouldn't say completely paleo. I would do these things where I'd implement certain things in my diet where I would, or I should say eliminate certain things in my diet. I would tell myself during the week I would be really good. I would eat lean meat. I thought I was doing the right thing by eating lean meats, and, you know, eliminating lentils, things like that. But I'd still like eat rice, like brown rice. I would have stuff like that, and vegetables. And I would try to leave my gluten. Like if I wanted to have pizza or have sugar or have something like that, I would tell myself I can have it on the weekends. So I would have it on the weekends, and then during the week I would be good. You know, my weekends, I might as well have drank a whole bottle of tequila or something on my weekends, because that's what it was like for me on a Monday. Because on the weekends I would just eat like whatever I wanted, and then I just feel like crap come Monday. And then I would start all over and try kind of be good, but still, I don't even think I realized, like, you know, I see a lot of these, you know, people talk about when they've gone carnivore and how they didn't even realize the extent of the problems until they went carnivore, until they spent a good amount of time doing it. I don't even think I realized the damage that I was doing to myself, or all of the inflammation that I had. I didn't even realize it. I mean, I think a really interesting thing as a side point, if I'm getting off topic, please just cut me off. I all my life had to buy, they were rain boots, I love boots, love shoes. I had to buy wide-legged boots all my life. And I thought that was just me. I thought that was just how it is. I got wide calves. I'm a girl with wide calves. And I didn't think anything of it. Sure enough, probably a couple months into carnivore, not even a couple months, I want to say it was like a month, I needed rain boots, and I went to JCPenney. They had I thought there's no way I'm going to find them. I usually have to order them because they're wide calved. And so there was just a pair of rain boots on their clearance rack. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to, something said, just try them on. I tried them on, they fit with room, and I was blown. My mind was blown. I was like, are you serious? Like all those years, that was inflammation that I didn't even know that I was carrying. And so, boy, do I have a lot of boots now. I'm just saying.
I love it. That's awesome. Well, good for you. That is a huge thing. And I hear a lot of girls talk about that. I never had that problem because I have like little skinny legs. But I have others, but my legs aren't one of them. But I had friends who did have really big calves. And so when they were able to fit into boots for first time in a long time, they're like, it was a big deal. Kind of like you see some girls, they talk about how when they're able to cross their legs again. So, that's kind of a cool thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I will never forget it.
So, okay, so when you started a meat-based diet, how did you implement it? Like, what were you eating? What was your approach? What did you decide not to eat, like, say, dairy or eggs or, those kind of things? And did you have any transitional issues?
Okay. So I started out first, probably for the first several months, doing keto. I started eating keto. And an interesting thing happened. I felt the more, like I would have certain specific things on my plate, right? A little bit of spinach, low carb veggies, maybe a little cheese, and then like a fatty meat with lots of butter or whatever. And if I ate, I would kind of graze around my plate. I would do that kind of thing. And I noticed that when I did that, like an hour or two later, I was hungry again. And so I thought, you know what, maybe what I should do is just stick to eating one thing. And then if I'm still hungry after eating like the meat, the fat and the meat, then I'll just eat what's left on my plate. And I found myself just reaching more and more towards the meat and just be not wanting the other because it just didn't give me the satiety that the meat did. And I love I intermittent fast. I usually fast about, 19 to 20 hours a day. And I feel good doing that. And I can do it successfully because of the fatty meats. Like I'm a huge ribeye and New York steak girl. Like, give me a ribeye or New York steak. So I eat steak a lot. But I'm also not above going to In-N-Out and ordering a stack of burger patties. Like, just give me a stack of burger patties in a clamshell. And I will come home and put some nice hard cheddar cheese, like sharp cheddar cheese, between the layers of them. So I think as far as to go to your question, as far as what I started doing, I just started slowly, then last January, the carnivore month, ShawnBaker said, hey, everybody, let's do carnivore. I talked to my husband. I'm like, maybe I should just go full carnivore. I'm not sure if I can do it, but maybe I should. I was primarily eating that way anyways. And I didn't sign up for it, but I just did it. So in January, I've been eating that way since January, and just went full board, like tons of bacon and steak and, sausage. I have no problem. I love eggs. I will eat eggs. I'm not as far when it comes to carnivore. I do try to reach towards like grass-fed beef. However, I'm not too picky. If there's a steak, I'm just going to eat it. And right now it's not so easy to always find. And I will even eat Spam. Living in Hawaii part of the year, I'm like, Spam and eggs is good. You're like cringing. But as far as trends, so eggs, cheese, I've had thoughts recently about kind of lowering the amount of cheese that I have, and dairy, just because I do notice that I have a little like sinus kind of stuff. And I'm, by process of deduction and just me facing the music, so to speak, I go, okay, it's most likely the cheese. However, is it enough for me to quit cheese? I'm not quite sure, because I do love cheese. So we'll see. I may end up dialing back on that. But I eat, if it's meat, I'll eat it. I'm not big on organ meats. I've tried. And so I use those ancestral supplements. I usually do, I think once a week, I'll take 3 of the thymus with 3 of the organ ones. So that's what I've been doing. I feel pretty good. So I take that as a sign that's working good. And so yeah, I eat maybe once or 2 times a day, depending. A lot of times I'm good with one good big meal, and I can be good until like the next day. I do drink coffee. I have my coffee, and I do put coconut milk, unsweetened coconut milk in my coffee. I make my own cold brew, and that I like that. And it doesn't seem to really bother me or anything. So and hardships, like transitioning to it. I think because I spent several months doing keto, I think my transition was a little bit easier. I think at keto I had kind of stalled even at weight loss. I'm down about 70 pounds or so from I'm now 135. So I've lost quite a bit since those days of the other. And I had stalled on keto. I had stalled and I couldn't understand why. I was like, I'm still eating all the same. What's going on? And wow, carnivore was the difference. Got rid of that extra inflammation that I was still carrying. Because when I was doing keto, I still had the thick girl thighs, those thighs or calves, thighs and calves probably. But so I still had that doing keto, and that went away along with all the joint pain and all that. But it was the bathroom thing was weird for me. Like, okay, like, when am I supposed to go to the bathroom? Because it's not happening. So I think, though, that's more like psychological than really an issue, and, because it did normalize after a while. People are like, I've seen people like on forums and stuff go, when am I, I'm not going to the bathroom. There's something wrong. And it's just kind of like, hang in there, because your body will normalize. It's just, as long as you're getting enough fats and meat and all that kind of stuff, your body learns kind of to, I guess, adapt to it. There's not as much left over. So I think out of everything, that was it. As far as any tough, I didn't really have like a super tough time. I said, I'm happy to not be making 3 meals a day and like always thinking about food. I'm like, who wants to keep thinking about food? I have other things I want to do like this. So yay.
I agree with you, girl. It's like, yes, I got stuff to do. I don't have time for all this worrying about food and being obsessed with it 24/7 like I used to be. So I'm with you. And I'm also with you on the organ meat thing. Hard, no. I've tried, no. So
yeah. I'm like, I'll just take these. This is, I just want the nutrients. I don't want to taste it or smell it. So yeah. But give me a big old thing of butter. I will cook a steak and sit there and dip it in butter, like grass-fed. Like, I love that Kerrygold butter. Oh my gosh. I will like sit there and dip my steak in it and eat it.
I feel you. I love that Kerrygold too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
We go
So
to red.
Yeah.
Okay, so when after you started the meat-based diet and you have been on it for a while, what changes did you notice? Did you have any improvements? Did your health get better? Tell us.
Oh, wow. Where to begin? Definitely the inflammation. Definitely the weight loss, excess weight. Definitely being able to go longer without eating. One thing I'll just step back really quick is I also suffered, I thought I had hypoglycemia. I couldn't go very long without eating. I'd get shaky, and it was almost like this blood sugar drop thing. And I would reach for something, usually something really sweet on the fly, or granola or some weird thing, and probably had sugar, to make me not get shaky and feel just like my heart pounding, like weird symptoms. And I thought I just couldn't go without eating for a very long time. I'd hear about people fasting and be like, nope, that's not me. And well, it is me if I'm eating the right things, right? And so that changed. I don't no longer have any of that. My energy level is through the roof half the time. So I have no problems with stamina or being able to, if I want to go do a workout, I go do a workout. And there's nothing, no energy lacking in that way. My anemia is gone. I got my blood work back in March done, and I had been off of any iron. I stopped doing iron when I was doing carnivore, because I also read, and I think it was ShawnBaker that even talked about something about your absorption. Your absorption changes when you're eating red meat and you're eating high nutrient dense food. That can help you to absorb the vitamins that you need. And so I was very hopeful, and I decided to take the risk again and go off of it. And I haven't been on iron since January. So, and I just got blood work. I'm waiting for it again to check it again. However, I have none of the symptoms. And for the first time in my life, I have fingernails, because I would bite them to nothing because I was so anemic, and I would chew ice and I would drive everyone around me crazy. And so I don't do that. I can't even remember the last time I used my ice machine other than to put some in my dog's bowl, like some ice. I don't even eat ice anymore. So weird. And let's see what else. Oh, the clarity, the mental clarity. Going back to talking about the depression and anxiety that I used to have. And it was something that kind of, I always only describe it as a cloud that it was always there. I used to have to implement certain things in my life, like coping things. When I get up in the morning, I try to really strongly focus on something to look forward to something. It was always a chore. And I always had all these systems in place to combat the depression and feeling anxious. And that went away. It was really interesting because my husband and I had a conversation, and I mentioned that. I just said, I feel this extreme amount of clarity, and I'm not emotional at all. When I've always been a really emotional person, I said, it's not that I can't be and I don't have feelings. It's just that I have control over them. And I can separate things. I can, when it used to be, he'd say, what's wrong? And I'd say, I'm not quite sure. I just feel sad. Well, why? I don't know. I don't know why I feel sad. Or I'm just feeling not off. And I never could explain it to him. And he's like, come to think of it, you haven't been that way in a long time now. Yeah, since January. So it's really amazing that mind-gut connection, right? Like, it obviously has a role. It plays a role, and it feels so good to not have to work at feeling happy, like to just be okay and just get up in the morning and feel good about being alive instead of having to come up with all these reasons. And so that was a big change for me. IBS completely gone. I have no real issues. Only time I ever have any bloating issues is if I have some type of, I'm really cautious about what's marinated in. If I go to a restaurant or I go somewhere, I always ask, what kind of oils do you use when you're cooking? Because I stay clear of plant-based oils, and I realize how inflammatory they are, and they do have an effect on me. They make me feel bloated, and so I recognize that right away after I eat something. And I think that that's something good that the carnivore diet, has kind of helped me with as far as recognizing things, right? Because when you're eating a limited amount of things, you go, okay, well, there has to be something. What is it? And it's a lot easier to figure out when you're not eating everything, right? When you're just eating meats and you go, okay, well, I didn't cook this meat. I wonder what else could be going on. I simply had a steak, or I simply had this. Well, I've gotten really big before now. I order a steak or anything from anyone else. I go, well, what do you fry those wings in? Or what do you put on your steak? And I am big about, if some of my friends think it's crazy to go to a restaurant and ask them, make sure there's no sugar at all on any of the ingredients on my plate, because I am well aware that they put sugar on steak. They put things on steak that are inflammatory just to make it pretty, and glisten. And so I'm very, I'm allergic. Keep it away from me. And can you please make sure there is no sugar at all, no plant-based oils, that kind of thing. So the only time I recognize any issues is when there's something else at play.
I hear you. And that is very true. Sugar is hidden in everything. You have to be so careful. So that's for sure. Well, there's some pretty amazing improvements there. And that whole mental clarity that you're talking about, that fog, that is a very, very common thing that I've been hearing a lot about. And I think people don't really fully understand that until they experience it. It's like not really even describable. It's just like this lift, it's kind of crazy. Okay, so I have one more question for you. You are a MeatRx member, and can you give us a little bit of info on what you feel has been a benefit to you being a member?
Oh, I would say first and foremost, the benefit of being a member to me is knowing that the money that I put towards MeatRx is going to a good cause, because I really feel strongly that people need to know that this diet exists. I wouldn't even call it a diet. This way of eating is out there, and that it's saving people's lives. I mean, it's increasing people's quality of life. right? And there is other things other than vegan and other ways of eating. And it goes towards, I know that my membership goes towards research, towards that. And studies need to happen. And so that people can make better decisions and the information. That's the second thing is I love the forums. I love to go into the forums. If I have a question about something, there's often a lot of people, including coaches, right, that will respond and give me answers or give me a place to look so that I continue to research and hone in my diet and figure out what works good for me. And there's also a lot of the research is on there. A lot of the research other people have done, a lot of the research ShawnBaker has done. And so I find that that's worth its weight in gold. I mean, that's very valuable information. And I just want more people to have it. I mean, I really want more people to have it and understand this.
I love it. That's awesome. And thank you so very much for sharing your success story with us. I think, the more people that share this, the more we can get the word out and the more impact we can have to, like you said, for people to know that this actually is a thing, that, it's a way of eating that is pretty good for you, It has all these amazing, side effects.
Yeah,
So,
no, thank you. Thank you so much. And yeah, I just want, things like this are really valuable in getting people to do the research, because I think that it's so important for all of us to take ownership of our own bodies and minds and to become our own experts, because we can't rely nowadays for other people to do that, because, there are ulterior motives out there. And though we do have a lot of well-meaning doctors and nurses, practitioners, and healthcare professionals, we can't rely on them to, take the time, right? We're worth the time ourselves to do the research. And so thank you. Thank you so much.
That was a perfect ending. I love it. That was awesome. Thanks, Trudi. And you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you. You too, Amber.
Bye, Trudi.
Bye.